Hello, little screamers. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. I am Nicole. This is Scream and Style, where we talk all about horror and create looks at the end of the videos. So we review either a book, a movie, mainly movies, and then after that, at the end, I do a makeup look inspired from that said movie or book, or whatever horror form we are enjoying ourselves in this month. And today we are going to be talking about the abominable Dr. Phibes, 1971 film directed by Robert Fust. But this film stars Vincent Price and Joseph Cotton, and it was written by William Goldstein and James Winton. Not Winton. And we are also going to be talking about the second movie, the sequel, the Dr. Phibes Rises Again. And because of its Art Deco sets, its dark humor, and because of Vincent Price, these two movies have instantaneously just become a cult classic. And this, I found, was on a top 200 list of favorite all-time horror movie ever. The first movie was released in 1971 and the second one in 1972. So, let's dive into this. Let's go! The abominable Dr. Phibes is a doctor, scientist, organist, and biblical scholar. Anton Phibes seeks revenge on the 9 doctors he considers who is responsible for his wife's death. Writer William Goldstein said, after his wife died, Barbara, in 1961, he had a vivid dream about a man who brings his wife back to life. And thus he developed the dream and its theme of revivification into the abominable Dr. Phibes. During this time, he met up with his old friend and classmate from Troy, Jim Winton, where the Phibes story sparked his interest, and then the two men collaborated to produce the original screenplay. After that, the script was sent off to the studio head of American International Pictures, where it then became a surprise hit for everybody. Goldstein has continued the Phibes character in 2 tie-in novels and 2 new ebook print adventures, along with Volnavia's Secret. I cannot wait to get this novella because this explains everything of who she is, of how she became his assistant, because it is so confusing in the film and you have no idea who she is. They don't explain anything about her. Thank God for this. But on to the rest of the other fun facts. The original script had the ending set in Wembley Stadium with Dr. Phibes sailing off in a balloon. And again, I say thank God they did not do that because one of the things I absolutely loved about the first film was the ending. He saved the last plague for himself. That's how I took it. I thought it was brilliantly done. Whereas the hot air balloon ending just wouldn't make sense and I don't think would have made an impact. In 2009, a series of comics were released by Blue Water in the US featuring the character of Dr. Phibes as part of their Vincent Price Presents series. Keith Moon, the drummer with The Who, was watching the abominable Dr. Phibes on TV on the night he died of a drug overdose in 1978. This was Vincent Price's 100th film, and they used this to gain publicity while doing marketing for the film. Which means I've got a lot of catching up to do because this is the first film I've ever seen him in, excluding the Edward Scissorhands. That doesn't really count. Joseph Cotton would grumble on the set that he had to remember and deliver lines, while Vincent Prices were all to be post-dubbed. Price responded, "Yes, but I still know them, Joe." In fact, Price was well known in Hollywood for his ability to memorize all of the character lines in a given production, not just his own. During filming, Vincent often cracked up, which in turn absolutely wrecked his makeup. Because of visual and budget reasons, the plagues of flies and gnats were replaced with rats and bats. They are so cute and furry. Just look at them. Look at them. Vincent said Joseph was very uncomfortable doing his scenes, so he intentionally made a lot of funny faces to make him laugh. Why he felt uncomfortable during the scenes, I do not know. But it's really cool of Price to do that for him. In the script, Phibes was abusive to Volnavia, eventually stabbing her to death, and then escaped his house, which was to catch fire, in a hot air balloon with Victoria's body. It was decided to make Phibes a more sympathetic character, so these sequences were removed. The rat curse was originally intended to take place on a boat. Robert Fust changed it to inside a plane as he felt the boat could have been escaped from. Writer William Goldstein has said that Volnavia was originally meant to be another clockwork device, complete with a wind-up key in her neck. Believing that Phibes needed a more mobile assistant, director Robert Fust made her human, but retained the blank facial expression and mechanical movements. Robert actually rewrote most of the original screenplay. Trout consulting the rabbi was one of the few sequences left from the original script, as writer Goldstein felt this was imperative and key to the story. And now onto the second film, Dr. Phibes Rises Again, is about how he is seeking the scrolls of life in ancient Egypt in an attempt to resurrect his deceased wife. But he is not the only man seeking immortal life. There was a lot of hostility between Vincent Price and Robert Corey, particularly when Price discovered that AIP was planning to replace him with Corey as their major horror film star. At one point, when Price discovered Corey singing opera, Corey said, "I'll bet you didn't know I could sing, did you?" To which Price replied, "Well, I knew you weren't a fucking actor." Ooh, ouch, burn. Take it, Corey, take it. At one stage, American International Pictures AIP planned to revive Count Yorga. From Count Yorga Vampire 1970 as an adversary for Dr. Phibes. The plan was dropped, but Robert Corey, who plays Count Yorga, appears in this film. If the film feels like things are missing, it may be because of two reasons. The script was written by two people who did not collaborate but wrote separate drafts that were then sort of stuck together. Even more reason for a jumpy quality to the film is that 10 minutes were cut out of the film by American International. Volnavia was originally going to be a new character, but the studios insisted on keeping her name. So this explains why the character returns despite being killed in the abominable Dr. Phibes' first movie. And when the pregnant Virginia North was unable to reprise her role as Volnavia for the sequel, Valley Kemp was cast instead, and she did awesome. She is gorgeous as well. The third film would have featured Phibes fighting a group of Nazis or searching for the key to Olympus. Amongst the titles mentioned for the film include Phibes Resurrectus, The Seven Fates of Dr. Phibes, or The Brides of Phibes. Proposed stories included Phibes being the subject of an elaborate revenge plot by Dr. Vesalius? Son from the first film, and Victoria being resurrected from the dead, but being a deranged homicidal maniac far worse than her husband. Reportedly, a large number of sequel scripts written, all exploring different ideas. There was also a plan to bring Dr. Phibes to the small screen with a TV series in which a reformed Phibes fought crime. In the 80s, an updated Phibes film was proposed as well. Unfortunately, Price's departure from AIP and AIP's subsequent change of focus to films, which would be of the exploitation grindhouse fare, meant the third film was never made, nor any further ones beyond it. Regardless of the second film just not landing any mark, really, it would be nice to see a third installment to really finish and round this off, as it would be great to see who the wife was, who she is, but it would definitely have to be well written and just surpass the second that just failed. The United Kingdom Times had this to say about the first film, and quote, "High camp horror with his tongue firmly in its gruesomely deformed cheek, this British oddity features Vincent Price in one of his most memorable films roles." The Variety had an interesting review stating, "Anachronistic period horror musical camp fantasy is a fair description, loaded with comedic gore of the type that packs theaters and drives child psychologists up the walls." The reviews for Dr. Phibes 2 was a mixed bag, but mostly they didn't like it. Tony Raines from Time Out said the same wasted opportunities with Art Deco sets, a scattering of pointless guest appearances, and only one death scene with balls. Pity it wasn't given to a director who could exploit the real possibilities. Clem Newman from Empire magazine stated, "A lively, spirited sequel to The Abominable Dr. Phibes, which misses the seven-leg rigor of a plot structured around the plagues of Egypt but still manages to come up with a succession of gruesome black comic death scenes." So the things I absolutely loved about this movie is first and foremost Volnavia. Her outfits, her style, and she's just a gorgeous girl to begin with, is a huge mood and vibe, and I loved pretty much everything that she wore. She was just so graceful and poised and elegant. My favorite of her outfits in the movie is the red and gold one, where she just comes out, puts her arms out, and it creates this very sunlight ray pattern on her dress, and she just walks, glides around, just being the gorgeous badass that she is. I love it! Along with how Dr. Phibes also used the plagues of Egypt as the structure of his killings for everybody, but the killing of the locust and the, what was it? And the frog mask. This guy is at a masquerade party, puts on a frog mask, and it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and it just crushes his skull. And then with the locust, it is a nurse. He pours this kind of green, thick liquid while the nurse is sleeping from upstairs from a hole that he did, and then just pours all the locust down her and eats her face off. Just clean white bone is all that is left. I would say those are definitely the two best slayings in the film. And I really think Vincent did a great job on with his hand gestures, his eyes, his facial expressions whenever he is giving those monologues, whenever he is speaking, because he cannot move his mouth whatsoever. So just definitely not like that. A lot better. The aesthetic of the 70s melding together with the 20s Art Deco, I think they did very well. His lair was, I think, gorgeously done. Although those animatronic big band dolls that he has to play music all the time, it's just creepy. Animatronics and dolls and stuff, I don't like. You can get your shit and get out. And that's why I have a boombox, okay? Okay. However, what was confusing to me, and I didn't necessarily like, was whenever Valnavia comes into the picture, I first thought that she was the daughter of Phibes and his late wife. But they do have this sort of deep, intimate relationship with each other. They just have dinner together, they dance around together, and so it kind of borders like, are they lovers? But they're not. Okay, so pretty much you're just a mute assistant who Phibes just got lonely and wanted companionship with a woman after all these years. Alright, I get it, you get lonely. So is that necessarily actually cheating on his wife, even though he keeps on saying he's hopelessly devoted to her? Was there something a little fishy there? Was it okay? Was it not? What do you think? Tell me. Let me know. Jot it down. And also what I didn't like in the film is how Phibes has a lot of monologues pretty much, and they are a bit repetitive, and it slows down the movie into a slow, boring pace at times. But other than that, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was pretty solid, and I understand why it's a cult classic. But now the second movie, okay, it is a bit of a mess. A bit skewy. There's a lot of things that doesn't make sense, and Virginia North, who played the original Valnavia, is no longer in it, but still, she is also just a stunning, beautiful girl, and her outfits are still on point, and I love them. I want them so bad. And with this, I believe the movie, his kills were more creative. This was a bit more fast-paced, and it was, for me, more entertaining than the first. But however, the first movie did have its shit together. It was a more solid of a plot and storyline, where the second movie was just, like I said, a bit of a jumbled mess. Overall, I really enjoy these movies, so I definitely recommend you see these two. And let me know in the comments if you have seen this movie, what you thought about it, and also the second, if you've seen it, what have you thought about it? But now let's go on to the makeup. So with this one, my past few makeups have been dull in color, gray. There hasn't been a lot of funky poppy colors. So, since I'm getting tired of it, I really wanted to turn this makeup because his character is just, it's boring. You know, it's not aesthetically appealing. And I just want to do something fun. So we're going to twist this. So we're going to have color, and we're going to tie in ancient Egypt with it in this skull, because they're both prevalent, highly prevalent in the film. Here we go. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe. Turn on that notification bell, ding ding, to make sure you are updated on all the videos I upload. It is usually once a month. Sometimes I do twice a month. Make sure to like this video if you liked it. Let's not force anybody to do anything here. And become a part of the little screamer community. It's pretty great. It's pretty awesome. You should try it. And I shall see you all next time.